The old town of Tbilisi, known locally as DZ Valley Tbilisi, is the beating heart of Georgia's capital, where centuries of history, culture, and architecture blend together in an enchanting maze of narrow streets, colorful houses, and timeless charm. The history of Tbilisi's old town dates back to the 5th century, when King Vakhtang Gorgazali discovered the area's natural sulfur springs and decided to establish a city around them. Over the centuries, Tbilisi has been influenced by Persians, Arabs, Mongols, and Russians, each leaving their mark on its architecture and culture. This rich mix of influences gives the old town a distinct character, a meeting point between East and West, ancient and modern. One of the most whimsical and beloved landmarks in the old town is the famous clock tower beside the Rizzo Gabriad's Marionette Theater, built by the renowned Georgian puppeteer and artist Rizzo Gabriadze. This crooked, fairy tale-like tower looks as though it has been pulled from a dream. Every hour, a tiny angel figurine emerges to strike the bell, delighting visitors who gather to watch. Below the tower, a mosaic depicting scenes from Tbilisi's past tells stories of the city's soul. The clock tower perfectly captures the city's playful yet historic spirit, where art, history, and imagination coexist effortlessly. As you wander deeper into the old town, every turn feels like walking through a living museum. The narrow cobbled streets are lined with colorful 19th century houses, their wooden balconies hanging delicately over the lanes. The air carries the aroma of Georgian cuisine, fresh bread, grilled meats, and the famous khachapuri, coming from cozy local restaurants and wine cellars. Churches, mosques, and synagogues stand close to each other, symbolizing the city's long tradition of religious tolerance and coexistence. Among them, the Enkiskadi Basilica, the oldest surviving church in Tbilisi, stands as a quiet witness to the city's ancient faith and endurance. The old town is also home to the historic sulfur baths of Abanadubani, where the city itself was born. The domed brick bathhouses, fed by natural hot springs, continue to offer the same relaxing experience that has been cherished for centuries. It's said that even poets and kings once soaked here, letting the warm mineral water wash away their weariness. As evening falls, the old town glows with golden lights, reflecting off the Kura River. Street musicians play traditional Georgian tunes, and the lively atmosphere brings together locals and tourists in a joyful harmony. The view of Narakala Fortress, illuminated on the hill, overlooking the entire district, adds a touch of majesty to the scene. Tbilisi's old town is not just a historic quarter, it is the soul of the city, where every stone, arch, and balcony tells a story. It invites visitors to lose themselves in its beauty, feel its rhythm, and discover a timeless charm that continues to define Tbilisi's heart and spirit. The Juma Mosque of Tbilisi, also known as the Friday Mosque, stands as a remarkable symbol of unity and coexistence in the heart of the city's old town. Nestled in the historic Abanadubani district, surrounded by colorful houses, winding alleys, and the famous sulfur baths, this mosque has a unique place in Georgia's cultural and spiritual landscape. It is one of the few mosques in the world where both Sunni and Shia Muslims come together to pray under the same roof, representing harmony and respect among different sects of Islam. The history of the Juma Mosque dates back to the 18th century, though earlier mosques are believed to have existed on the same site long before. The present structure was built in the late 19th century, after the original building was destroyed several times by invasions and political turmoil. Its architecture reflects a fascinating blend of Middle Eastern and Georgian styles.
Now, created 300 years before Christ. But Georgian people, after some time, they wanted to create easier alphabet than this, because they started writing down more.
Meydan Bazar, also known as Meydan Bazaar, is one of the most fascinating and historic corners of Old Tbilisi, located near the Abanadubani district, where the famous sulfur baths are found. This market area has been a central part of the city's social and commercial life for centuries. For a vlogger exploring the cultural heart of Tbilisi, Meydan Bazar offers a perfect blend of history, charm, and authentic Georgian spirit. The name Meydan comes from a Persian word meaning square or open place, reflecting Tbilisi's ancient role as a crossroads between Europe and Asia. During the medieval period, this area was a vibrant trading center where merchants from Persia, Armenia, India, and the Arab world gathered to sell goods, exchange stories, and share cultures. Tbilisi's location on the old Silk Road made Maidan a natural hub for commerce and communication. The marketplace was filled with carpets, spices, jewelry, and handcrafted items, and the air carried the scents of oriental perfumes and roasted coffee. Over the centuries, Maidan Bazaar became more than a marketplace. It became a meeting point of civilizations. Georgian traders interacted with people of many backgrounds, and this cultural blend gave the area its unique character. Even today, when you walk through the narrow streets of the old bazaar, you can still sense that historic atmosphere. The old brick arches, small tunnels, and stone pathways take you back to an earlier time when caravans stopped here on their way to distant lands. In the 19th century, Maidan continued to thrive under Russian influence, and new trading practices blended with old traditions. However, as Tbilisi modernized, much of the original bazaar was lost or rebuilt. In recent decades, the area has been beautifully restored, bringing back the charm of its historic roots. Today, Maidan Bazaar is filled with souvenir shops, art galleries, and local crafts. Visitors can find handmade jewelry, traditional Georgian wine, wooden icons, and carpets that reflect the ancient artistry of the region. Maidan Bazaar offers not just visual beauty, but also a story of resilience and connection. It's a place where the echoes of the Silk Road still whisper through every brick, and where the soul of old Tbilisi continues to live.
Perched gracefully on a rocky cliff above the Mtkavari River, the Miteki Church of the Nativity of the Mother of God stands as one of the most breathtaking and historic landmarks of Tbilisi. It is one of those places where the city's soul seems to come alive, a perfect blend of legend, faith, and architecture as you approach the area, especially from the direction of the old town. The sight of the church, rising high above the water, immediately captures your attention. The tranquil river flowing below, the old cobbled streets nearby, and the statue of King Vakhtang Gorgazali beside the church create a setting that feels like stepping into a living story from Georgia's deep past. The history of Miteki Church dates back to the 13th century, when it was built by King Demetrius II of Georgia. However, its location is even more ancient. According to local legends, this was once the site of the palace of King Vakhtang Gorgazali, the founder of Tbilisi, who also established one of the earliest churches here in the 5th century. The church that stands today has survived centuries of destruction and rebuilding caused by invasions, fires, and wars, yet it continues to rise proudly, symbolizing the resilience of the Georgian spirit and faith. The architectural design of the Miteki Church reflects the best of medieval Georgian style, built from solid stone, with a simple but elegant dome, arched windows, and thick walls that give it a feeling of strength and timelessness. Inside, the atmosphere is peaceful and deeply spiritual. The soft glow of candles, the faint scent of incense, and the quiet prayers of visitors create a mood of reverence that touches everyone who enters. This is a place where you feel the connection between history and belief, between the people of Georgia and their enduring traditions. One of the most captivating parts of visiting Miteki Church is the panoramic view from its courtyard. From here, you can see the empty Kavari River winding through the city, the modern Peace Bridge shining across the water, and the old town spreading out below with its red rooftops and narrow lanes. On the opposite hill, the ancient Narakala fortress stands proudly, completing the perfect Tbilisi skyline. The equestrian statue of King Vakhtang Gorgazali near the church adds a majestic touch, representing the king who first envisioned this city as a center of culture and power. As the sun sets, the scene becomes even more magical. The golden light touches the church walls, and the city lights begin to twinkle below, creating a view that feels almost poetic. It's one of those rare places where every direction offers a perfect shot for your vlog. History in one frame, beauty in the next, and emotion throughout. The Miteki Church of the Nativity of the Mother of God is not just a monument of stone and faith. It's a living chapter of Tbilisi's story. It reminds every visitor that this city has always stood at the crossroads of civilizations, strong, spiritual, and forever beautiful. The Zion Cathedral of the Dormition, often known as Sioni Cathedral, stands as one of the most sacred and historically rich landmarks in Tbilisi, Georgia, located near the banks of the Kura River in the Old Town. This cathedral embodies centuries of spiritual devotion, resilience, and Georgian identity. Its origins date back to the 6th and 7th centuries, making it one of the oldest surviving churches in Tbilisi. Over the centuries, the cathedral has been rebuilt several times due to invasions and destruction, yet it has always risen again, symbolizing the unbreakable faith of the Georgian people. The current structure, which mainly reflects 13th century architecture, beautifully showcases traditional Georgian Orthodox design. Its stone walls, modest yet elegant dome, and intricate carvings create an atmosphere of solemn grace. Inside, the soft glow of candles, the scent of incense, and the gentle murmur of prayers transport visitors to another era. The interior features stunning frescoes. Sioni Cathedral has been more than just a religious site. It has been a symbol of endurance throughout Tbilisi's turbulent history. It witnessed Mongol invasions, Persian attacks, and Russian domination, yet it has remained a steadfast center of worship and national spirit. During the Soviet period, when many churches were closed or destroyed, Sioni continued to function as one of the few active places of worship in the city, keeping faith alive in challenging times. Today, as visitors wander through the cobblestone streets of Old Tbilisi and approach the cathedral's ancient gates, they feel the weight of history and the serenity of faith intertwined. Whether one visits for prayer, history, or admiration of architecture, the Zion Cathedral of the Dormition remains a timeless spiritual heart of Georgia, connecting the past and present through devotion and beauty. Hidden right in the heart of Tbilisi, the Legdekevi waterfall is one of those rare places where nature and the city beautifully meet. As you walk through the narrow streets of the old town and follow the stone pathway near the famous Abanatubani sulfur baths, the sound of rushing water begins to grow stronger, leading you toward this peaceful oasis. The name Legdekevi comes from the Georgian word for fig gorge, because in ancient times, this area was full of fig trees growing along the cliffs. The moment you reach the waterfall, it feels like stepping into another world. Surrounded by steep rocky walls, the cool mist from the falling water creates a refreshing atmosphere, especially on warm days. The waterfall drops about 22 meters and flows into a small stream that runs through the gorge, making it a perfect spot for photos and quiet reflection. Many locals and travelers visit here to relax, listen to the water, and take a short break from the city's buzz. At night, the area is softly lit, giving the waterfall a magical look, especially against the backdrop of the old brick architecture nearby. The The bridge that crosses the gorge offers one of the best views, and if you look around, you'll notice charming cafes and small walkways where you can enjoy the scenery even more. Legvdikevi Waterfall is more than just a natural sight. It's a peaceful retreat right into Tbilisi's old quarter, reminding everyone that even within the city, nature still has its quiet corner, whether you visit during the day or in the evening. This spot promises a moment of calm and beauty worth capturing.